development work is done. Not like that. You have to do lot more things after writing a code as well.
Okay.
So both skill are required for, I mean, if you are a developer, then both skill are required to make any application workable.
Okay. Okay. Because I am lacking of the skill, so that's the reason.
No, that's not again. I mean, it's not kind of. So because your position is kind of a business. I mean, as a kind of a BDM or an business analyst kind of. I mean, or the your future role would be a kind of business analyst, if I'm not wrong, right?
No, sir. Actually, I'm planning to do admin only, sir, not business.
Yeah, I mean, business analyst is also, I mean, they have a some, I mean, for example, see, if you are doing a requirement gathering until you do not know that what is a documentum. So,
That I know, sir. What is the role
hmm,
of the business analyst? I know completely.
hmm,
So mock-ups, prototyping, SDLC, and
right.
HLD, BLD, and BRD, SRS. So those are all to be prepared by the business
Anal-
analyst, and
Correct.
also they just know the application. But I'm not looking for the business analyst role. So
Hmm,
business analyst role have not having value present right now. So once they knows the application completely, sometimes
hmm,
what happens is business process analyst and business technical business analyst positions are more compared
hmm,
to this normal business analyst. So normal business analyst means just they know the application knowledge. That's it. They don't know that the in-depth knowledge. Only they just communicate to the respective stakeholders and gathering the requirement and charting that requirement in a fidelity model or business process or what is that? Some models are there, different models are there, and
hmm,
also CBAP certification is there, and as well as they will do some interview kind of thing and brainstorming to generate the ideas. Once the uh, product owner or client giving certain requirement, so that they will just develop that requirement in such a way that developers should understand, and also they give that knowledge for the testing persons also how to test that and UAT environment, what are the role of the business analyst, that it will come a matter. So they
hmm,
directly involved in the coding, but they will do. I agree that certain queries they will do by using that database, but they will not completely comes as a development side. And also they have certain value when they are doing some agile business analyst or certified scrum master. So it doesn't mean that they have the development knowledge, then definitely they will go into success. But until the job roles will jobs are very difficult if they don't know that admin or development knowledge. As if you are purely going business analyst means no one will take. If I am not wrong,
yep,
whatever you say.
correct, correct.
So I am not looking for that. Sir. I am looking for admin role only purely.
Hmm.
So maybe I told you I think in the demo session also, but maybe I'm not sure whether you are remembered or not. So that's the reason. So outline, if I am telling also, there is no, it is not giving any value addition to me if you are teaching outline also. So that's the reason I just require my end. So what are the development and the admin part people will do at the back end. So that is only I am looking for. Business analyst means in-depth knowledge is not required. If I am not wrong.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay,
Hmm.
we will start that class.
So, did you get? I mean, did you try to go through the case study? I mean, did you have a read that part case
Yeah,
study?
I'm coming to that, sir. So actually, as you said, so I'm
Hmm.
just giving that discussion. Even though you knows that because you are in a development environment,
Hmm.
so it is like telling to the experienced person to a normal basic person. So it may be give somehow odd feeling to you. But
Oh, no
whatever else
problem.
I'm
And
telling.
it's my job. I mean, don't think like this. It's my job.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, tell me, please.
So two case studies you have given, sir. One is for the completely relating to the pharma and GMP environment.
Correct.
So 1 minute, can I?
Yeah,
Uh,
let me share my screen. I'm just
yeah, oh,
sharing.
sorry, sorry.
right? Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please.
Yeah, yeah, I can see your screen. Yeah. So first case study is pharmaceutical corporation develops
Right,
the yeah,
right.
over-counter drug for the common elements.
Yes, correct.
Yes.
S- So, okay, so let me explain it. So basically, I mean, the pharmaceutical industry, what they do, they, uh, I mean, why they use a documentum. First, they do create a SOPs or release a specification document for their the product, a specific product, and right now where the documentum comes. I mean, we studied so many products about, so where it comes. So for example, if user create that SOP documents or release a specification document, they have to upload that document into the documentum, right?
Yes, 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 sir.
So once they upload a document, and so because it's a pharmaceutical documents, I mean the farm, so they must be a secure enough, right? I mean, only certain people should able to access that document, correct?
Yes, right, sir.
So here the permission comes into the picture, so that secure the document, right? Also the version control is also required. I mean, uh, for example, if they are updating a document as specific to the version, I mean major minor something, that version control comes into the pictures,
Okay.
right? So if we have a n number of documents, I mean if we have so many of documents, that must be a search by that particular tool, right? So search comes into the picture. Again, if the document is sharing to some other guys, I
Okay.
mean they are internally sharing the document. So the PDF, I mean, the document can should be shared into the in form of PDF, so that other persons or the other people cannot should not misuse it, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
the CTS comes into the picture, content rendition services.
Okay.
I mean, for permission version search, the this features the Dogbase having these features, and CTS to to convert or render the document into the PDF or other format.
Okay.
Let's say I mean, if this is is there any PPT or something, and we want to get it converted into another format. So, and again, for example, if other people are reviewing the document,
Okay.
right? Let's say if I review this document
Okay.
and I have certain observation on that document. So see, you might have seen that review feature is there in a Word document, right? You can provide your review comments.
Sir, actually, I can tell you. So, in the present organization, what happens is, so once the other, so done this document, means once they type and save it in a Word format, they are
Mm,
just checking. I mean, they are just doing that content new. So then they are uploading that Word file. So that Word file also prior to uploading, there is some standard format is there, which is inbuilt in the EDMS. So
correct.
from the inbuilt content only, that user is just copy pasting from the MS Word, or they are
Right.
formatting that word, and then they are sending for initially for consolidated review for the respective stakeholder or peers.
Mhm.
So once they are giving that comments in the form of annotations, then they just give the checking document, and then they are giving that comment in the particular repository of the folder. So after receiving all the comments, then the particular author is doing that rectification. Then he will send for the final review for the
So
review.
yeah, you are, I mean, this they are doing the manually. I mean, they are not doing in this EDMS. I mean, right now what you are saying, they are using a words feature,
Correct. Yeah.
right? But even if you don't want to use a words feature, I mean, so you can use also the, I mean, I think you might have already aware of this Brava. There is a book. tool
Yeah,
called
yeah,
Brava.
Brava also there. So Brava also PDF we can use the some comments without disturbing the original content also.
Correct. Even those comments get saved into the system. So in case if you want to look what all are the comment are there, so that also that comments also saved into the documentum itself. I
Correct.
mean into the repository.
Yes.
So for that, Brava comes into the picture, right? Uh, Again, managing this whole that particular content, we decided particular state of a document, right? For example, if initially document are in draft state, then if it get reviewed or it is to be reviewed, then it's in review state. During review process, it's in review state, and during the approval or this is the document is in a approval state, right?
Right.
It's say states of a document.
Correct.
So such like I mean, so again, here we use a documentum life cycle for developing such kind of solution. So and to make it automated, I mean, this all review and approval process to get it automated, we have a workflows designed. So we can design a workflow to get this whole process automated,
Okay.
right? To I mean, to this release.
Automate the tasks like
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, this whole process, not only the, I mean, yes, of course we are automating in the task itself, but this whole process, I mean, you say that document review, whole review process until it's get drafted and to the get it effective, this whole process we can automate through uh, workflow. So a workflow is designed by two softwares. I mean, again, it's a Documentum product, uh, right? That is called Process Builder or Workflow Manager, or we have a XCP designer as well, through which we can design the process, right?
Mm. Okay.
I'll show you the how to design the process. I mean, we have a workflow section. Next review, I mean, so that you'll have idea how what is the activity, how it get designed in case if you have to create a small workflow, how to I mean this, I mean, runtime example I will provide it to you for the workflow. Next, I mean, for this we have, I mean, for this administration, right, check in, check out, versioning, right, or creating a user, right,
Yeah.
we have a this tool, we have a documentum administrator,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Once this release specification are effective, right, or it's approved, we have to publish into the website,
Yeah.
right, globally website, so that all people are aware that following medicine has been released or like this. So we have a site delivery services. Once the document is approved in the documentum, automatically it can display on a particular website. So we have a site delivery services, and after a certain time period, right, and down the line at 6 year, 6 months, 1 year, I mean, as per the requirement, that religious specification must be reviewed.
Yes. Yes. Like sometimes they create the annual or biannual. Yeah.
Right.
That is again
uh,
depending on the company policy or
right.
procedure. Yeah.
Right, and the all the previous specification must be archived. So for archiving all the previous things, we have a record
Complete
managers.
digital.
So
Correct.
this is yeah, I mean, this is the all the use of products of the documentum. But
Okay.
maybe we'll discuss a little more when we go, I mean, I mean each
Okay. No
uh,
problem.
so so it was the basic idea of
Document.
Documentum and its product.
Yeah.
So now I'm starting with that very basic thing, how to create users groups, and I will demonstrate to how to create, and then we'll discuss the type, object type basically. So what is an object type? What is the object in Documentum, or how it is? it manages, though it's a little bit
Okay.
technical, but I mean you'll have idea because you have a fair idea of database. You'll understand it,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So so let me know once you maybe okay. Maybe it's a very simple. It might. I hope you can see my screen, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I mean this new PPT what I have opened, user and groups. Is it not? Hello.
Yeah. It's feasible.
Okay. Okay. Today, I mean, I will discuss. Then again, I will demonstrate as like yesterday we did.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Sure.
So users and groups, right? But before moving ahead, I would like to tell you one thing that Documentum just manage everything as an object, right?
Okay.
Now, what is an object? I mean, uh, object, it could be any, I mean, any file, any configuration file, any folder, cabinet, document, anything, workflow. These all are the objects, right? Hello, am I audible?
Okay. Okay.
Am I audible?
Hello.
I'm, yeah, hello.
Yeah. Hello, sir. My voice is clear for you.
Yeah, now it's clear. I mean, but I feel there is some disconnection. I think I feel so.
Uh,
Some intermittency in your voices. I mean, okay. Anyway,
I think that signal. I mean, your voice is clear, and
mm,
also my side.
now it's clear for you. Okay, so I was saying that Documentum manage everything as an object,
Okay.
right? So basically, for the Documentum, it's everything as an object, whether it's a user, whether it's a group, whether it's a folder, whether it's document, anything,
Okay.
right? So I mean, everything is an object for Documentum, whether it's a configuration file. So I mean, right now we were discussing a repository, doc base, doc broker. Again, these
Yeah.
both also are object for a Documentum,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And correct. So same way as I told you that it's an object for a Documentum. So same way user and groups also an object for a Documentum, right?
Okay.
And one more thing is that why Documentum is so popular among other competitive CMS, because of its security features, right? The way it maintains the security is highly um, and popular. I mean, make this software as highly popular. So basically, why I add this slide or why this PPT to basically to discuss the security. I mean, what all are the various things are there to make it secure or security. I mean, apart from security, right? How it create how managing a security. I mean, it is having a three level of security, right? One is you at a user level. One, second is a object level or a document level, and third is at folder level, right? So at user level, I mean, first it look whether user has a permission or not. I mean, what access level user has. One, then it look what is the permission on a folder. Two, and third, it check what is the permission on document, right? Then user can able to access that document, right?
Yes.
For example, you are you are an admin, but you do not have access in a document or on a folder, then still you cannot see the document,
okay,
Let's say if you have a permission on both of the places, but you do not have a permission on the document, still you cannot access a document,
okay.
right?
Yes.
I mean, so there are a certain things that we need to understand how the permissions or how the security works.
Okay.
So we'll start with the first at the user uh, point of view,
Okay, sir.
right?
Yeah.
And also one admin, I mean, sometimes uh, we have to rename the users. Let's say user says, I mean, user, I mean, rename the users. I mean to say, for example, you are a admin, Documentum admin, right? Say, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we'll discuss the rename of the user, but I'm telling you one scenario. For example, you are a Documentum administrator, right?
Yeah.
And you are executing all that services, Documentum services, I mean, based upon your account, right? Because you have a one domain account and you are executing that services or
Okay.
starting and stopping those services based upon your account.
Okay.
Even let, right? But for example, or right, for example, or I mean, there is a person who is using doing this stuff. Let's say he leaves the organization, right?
Yeah.
And another person come in that place or join in that place. So how to change the account,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Another admin's task, how to change the passwords.
Okay.
Already repository has a password, then how to change the passwords. So this admin kind of, I mean, even if you could note it down, that it also be good for,
Okay, sir.
I mean,
Yeah.
so that you can recall me, I mean, because see, sometimes it possible, I miss this point, so so we can include these 2 points as well.
Okay.
Not only, I mean, today, but later on when we are discussing, I can demonstrate you and so you how to do these two activities, and because these are the most mm,
Common.
common activities
Okay.
that is taken by the administrator.
Okay. 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 I noted them
All
actually.
right.
Yeah. Okay. Preliminary activity actually speaking. So
Mhm.
basically. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So now, what is a user? A user is what who is a individual person must have a OS account. I mean, who has a operating system access. He must be having a operating system access, and it is an instance of dm underscore user. Means it is an object of dm underscore user. What is a dm underscore user?
Mhm.
Uh, for example, I mean, as of now, you can understand it's kind of a table, though it's a type. I mean, it's a type. I told you that everything in a documentum is maintained by object, right? So just in, I mean, in layman language, if I say, I mean, all the objects, I mean, see, so many objects are there, but every object must belong to a certain category, right? Just again, I'll take an example in real world so that I let make you understand. We are humans, right?
Yeah.
Right? We all are humans,
Yeah.
right? So we are an object of humans, right? Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
So human is a type, document type, and we are the objects. So similar, human you can refer as a dm underscore user, and Krishna you can refer the instance of that dm underscore user.
Okay.
Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
Right. So Documentum manage everything as an object, and every objects belong to a certain category. That category is called a object type. So
Okay.
every object belong to a certain type. That that type is called object types.
Okay.
Right. I will let you know how to identify. Uh, Even you can by seeing the object ID. I hope you are aware of this object ID. Otherwise, there is a one ID that is maintained by the system. By looking that ID, you can easily recognize which object or which type this object belongs to,
Okay.
right? For example, if show you one id, so by looking at our object id, you can say that this object belong to dm underscore user or dm underscore document or for xyz.
So by default, it will show that what is it? The view as a DM user, like, right? Or it will be changed.
It is a DM. I mean, if see a DM, or another way you can understand it, DM and DM underscore user is a one table
Okay.
that is maintaining all the users information,
Oh,
all the users, Documentum users,
okay.
right?
Got it.
Right, it's a kind of table. I mean, what is maintaining, name, email ID, uh,
Okay.
like this.
Name, email ID, user
I
ID.
mean, much more, but as of now, I mean, for this slide you can understand there is a one table that is maintaining all the users information, right?
Okay.
In case if you need to check how many users are there in the system, you can query on DM underscore user and can find out the results.
Okay.
So I mean, generally you have, I mean, as an admin, you have to share the reports.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Generally people ask you how many users are there who are logging, who are active in the system, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because of again, I mean, license perspective, I mean, suppose uh, organization has to purchase license, or he want to check what are the common uses of Documentum, how many users are logging, or so I mean, for example, you bought 1000 license,
Yeah.
but at a point of time only 10 users are logging on in Documentum, or 100 users are logging in. So you can maintain this or manage this thing. So you can publish the report or like this. So how you can publish the report? By querying on DM underscore user. So DM underscore user is a type that maintains all the users object,
Yeah.
right? What are the users, all the users who access the Documentum, right?
Yeah.
So how many users are there in the system can be accessed through DM underscore user, I mean, can be checked through DM underscore user, right?
Okay.
Next, there is a one term is client capability.
Okay.
So what the Documentum do, Documentum maintains a capability of a user, right?
Yeah.
uh, when the user access a dog base, it they must be a certain capability, what kind of things he can do with the dog base.
Okay.
So I told you that the security. So at the user level, what he can do in dog base,
Okay.
right? So there are four capabilities. I mean, these capabilities are called client capabilities,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
First capability is consumer, second capability is contributor, third capability is coordinator, and fourth capability is system administrator,
Okay.
right? So by default, I mean, it's a default. I mean, in case if you are creating a capability, by default it become a consumer, I mean user. If you are creating by default user, or if you are not giving any capability to the user, then by default he will be a consumer.
Okay.
So consumer only can search and view the documents, only can search, he cannot create check in check out, nothing can do.
Okay.
So based upon with this capability, user only can search and view the documents, right? And on the contributor, user can create and edit documents,
Okay.
right? I mean, in case if you want that these users I mean, users are needed to create a document or edit a document, then that particular user must be having a contributor capability,
Okay.
right? Next is a
These,
code.
so
Yeah,
these
yeah.
roles are inbuilt or we are defining by our own, like,
Uh,
uh,
the, these four are inbuilt. I mean, you have to select, you have to provide whether you, I mean, you have to assign this capability.
okay, sorry. Okay, carry on, sir.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Next is a contributor, create and edit, and I mean this. And third one is a coordinator. Coordinator can create a workflows. Create a workflows means, for example, if you have to design a workflow, then that again, the developer, I mean the developer who is designing a workflow, he only can design a workflow if he have a coordinator client capability. Otherwise, he cannot design a workflow, because workflow is also an object in a documentum.
Okay.
Life cycle is also an object in a documentum. Next, and he can manage a document. Manage document means check in, check out, everything he can do, delete, like this. And third one is a system administrator, right? So generally a doc based administration functions. So what all are the functions? So many functions are there, like creating a users, deleting a users, right? This is kind of a management. Creating a job, you know to run a job, creating a methods, creation of life cycle. These all are the admin kind of,
Configuration,
yeah, related work,
configuration of the.
right? So if the user is working as an administrator, then he must be a sysadmin. I mean, with this capability he can do. So when we create a users, what he get? When we create a user, he get an inbox and one default folder.
Okay.
Another generally, uh, you know I mean, generally the issue comes regarding this, or I mean, it's again one thing that you can understand for as an admin task. What happens, for example, I mean, as I was saying, that generally the people get two things: inbox and default folder. While the default folder, it's a documentum folder, right? Not a storage that we discussed. A documentum folder, I'll show you this. So documentum default folder means, if user create a document, right?
Okay.
For example, if user is importing a document, and he forget to link that document into the with respect to folder. I mean, let's say, I mean, he forget that he has to copy this document into a certain folder, and he forgot. Then where that document will go? So document always goes into the default folder, right? What happens in general, I mean, for either, I mean, it is not like that the people miss. For example, system fails to link the document, because it's a at the backend it's a Java code, and suppose Java code has error, or any issue occurs, and it missed to link the document into the folder. Then the document gets created into the, or it moved into the default folder of users, who is at that time who is creating the document.
Okay.
For example, you are creating uploading a document, and it do not link with that particular folder, then that document will move into your default folder.
That's it. Yeah.
Got it?
Yes.
So I mean, so what happens generally, I mean, recently, I have seen that people able to search a document into the D2, but when he try to I mean, when he's searching, he is able to see the document, right? In D2 the document is searchable, but he when he tried to go to the folder and try to see, the document was not, they do not find the document in there, right? So what the issue? Because they don't know, they are not looking into its default folder. The document was created, but the document was there in the default folder, rather on. Now another thing, there is a one another thing apart from client capability. There is the user privileges, right? Client capability tells what user can access in a documentum,
Okay.
what kind of access, right? Or what kind of what capability the user has to perform within the documentum, the complete doc base, right?
Okay.
Further, we have a user privileges. So there are six privileges,
Okay.
right? One is none, second is create type, third is create cabinet, fourth is create group, sys as admin, and super user,
Okay.
right? None, create type, create cabinet, create group, sysadmin, super user. right? Type, I told you, object category. That object belong to a certain category, or that, or the type. That type is called object type, right? And cabinet is a very first folder in a Documentum is a cabinet,
Okay.
right? I'll show you. So I mean, group, you already aware. I mean, this group is a group,
Means
right?
group means that
Set
we
of users. Yeah,
set of users. Okay.
yeah. Set of users is a group.
Like according to BU or business unit.
Not a view. I mean, again, we have a further slide for a group that show you. And next is a sysadmin. I mean, for again, I mean, if the user has to perform sysadmin related task, then we can give the user sysadmin privileges. Then he can perform a sysadmin, right?
Means what the sysadmin means?
Sorry,
Sysadmin means what?
sysadmin is an administrator.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And next is the super user. Super user means the person who can do anything in the system. That's the super user. I mean, he has access of all, like a god. I mean,
Mhm.
uh, so I'll show you the difference. What is the difference between sysadmin super user in the next slide we have.
Because as per my knowledge, super user means he knows that knowledge, but he cannot able to do configuration in the okay.
I mean, that's the other way around. I mean, he only the person he can do anything in the system.
Okay, maybe in this
Yeah.
context, maybe it may be different. But generally speaking, super user means the normal user don't have rights, but super user is having some right, but he cannot able to do some configuration or some system
Okay.
changes. But when it comes to D2, maybe super user context is different.
Okay. I mean, so none. First is a none. I mean, for example, if I don't want to give any privilege to user, then by default I will give it to none, right? I mean, if user with the none privileges cannot do anything in the system, right? None. So, for example, if we want that user can create type,
Okay.
right? Then we can give a user as a create type privileges. Let me open side by side so that it would be a little. Just give me a second. So, uh, I think this. I hope it's. Can you see this VM?
No.
This. Okay. With all. Screen. Now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But maximize. Okay. Yeah, I can see that, but I think maybe view I can mention that full screen. Okay, it is visible. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So just. I mean, how to create a users? This is a tool DA. Let me relog in.
Sir, one thing I can tell you, so that D2 currently here is 16.4. So any
Mhm.
difference is there, sir, for that one?
Uh, Functional wise, there is no difference.
Okay, any
Practi-
additional feature or advanced features are added?
uh,
Like,
yeah, I mean, functionally, it's almost same as, I mean, they're using, I mean, from, but I mean, uh, difference in terms of, I should say, I mean, uh, even not a architecture related difference. Basically, what is the difference? they have updated some APIs in the sense Java jar files. You know, I mean, for example, they are using some third party libraries. I mean, those third party libraries has been updated.
Okay.
So in earlier version, they were using a previous version of third party libraries, but in new version, I mean 16.4 onwards, they have started using another libraries. Even just I mean for the open text or documentum version perspective, I mean, see, we have this 7.1, right? This VM is a 7.1. Also I have another VM that's having a latest 7.3.
Okay, sir. Okay. Okay.
But you're thinking that 7 and 16, right? So but there is no huge difference 7 to 16, because they are naming, I mean, this naming convention is like this. It looks like that huge difference. You know, after 7 there was no update, and then after 7 there is a 16. I mean, no intermediate updates are there. I mean, not 8, 9, 10 like this.
Okay.
Ba- so basically what is their function, they release of every 3 months, right? Every update in within the 3 months. In case if they miss to create that version within the 3 months, so they miss the name number. I mean, they create another number,
Okay.
right? I mean, for example, in next 3 months they have no release, and but in further quarter, I mean next, after forthcoming quarter, what they will do, they will make it two. Oh, I mean, today they have released one. Let's say they have released one today, and in next quarter there is no release, and after that in a for the next quarter, if they have released, the number would be three, not two,
Okay.
right? So I mean they have a number
Okay.
like this. So that's why, I mean, so last 1 or 2 years they have no release. So that's why make it starting with number 16. So right now the latest version is 20, although 20.2. But again, 16 to 20 there is no much a difference.
Okay.
I mean, because they have a no release in within the month. So that's why they just increase the number. I mean, they, and it become 20. But at the, I mean, but at the
At the
if
moment, yeah,
yeah, people look that they thought, oh, it's a huge difference. I mean,
will
it's
come,
they.
the UI difference will come maybe. That arrangement or the options maybe. I'm not sure because I'm not open this admin task because I don't have access for now.
Yeah, I mean, just I mean, uh, uh, in I mean in D2 wise, yes, I mean import skin, they have this given as a workflow as a additional, but again there is no requirement of it. I mean, just to make the things different. I mean, they add it, but again there is no use of it.
Okay, okay, sir.
Yeah, we'll come at that point when we'll discuss the D2. I'll show you that what
Okay,
was there
sure,
in the
sure. No
previous
problem.
versions.
No problem.
But internal, yes, internal dependent architecture. Architecture, again, I would not say the architecture, internal way of uh, developing an application, that has a difference.
Okay,
So, user, how to create user? Here's the DA left hand side. So many options are there,
okay,
right? So this is a Documentum administrator tool. I mean, this tool is managed by the admin.
okay,
So we go to the users,
okay,
right? Here we can view all the users, how many users are there in the system,
okay,
right? In case we have to create a new user, then we go to the new, then click user, like this. We have a name, user login name, right? uh,
yeah,
User source, description, email, like this.
okay,
This is the default folder that I was talking about, right?
okay,
Here we can select default user for that particular user, and default permission set, okay. And this is the privileges that we are discussing. What is the privileges, right? Create type, create cabinet, create group, sysadmin, and super user. Here we can select, right, or none. Extended privileges we have, we'll discuss.
yeah,
Client capability, see by default, see he is a user, I mean by default become a consumer. Otherwise we have a contributor, coordinator, and sysadmin,
okay,
right?
yeah,
And also we have an option to disabling authentication failure checking. So now at number of time, if user try with wrong password or
yeah,
wrong credential,
yeah,
if you select this checkbox, then it lock the user. The system will lock the user at a particular specified number of time,
okay,
right? Otherwise, if this checkbox is not checked, then he can use n number of times.
okay, okay. So what is alias set?
Alias set is basically kind of placeholders, right? Placeholders in the sense, for example, here I'm creating a user, but I mean right now, see, we instead of creating a user, I can create placeholder. Placeholder means, for example, I am creating, let's say, test, right? Test user, right? So this user, I mean rather creating a hard coded value, we can create a placeholder. So if we are deploying same thing in another environment,
Okay,
then in it can accept that value that is created there.
okay,
I mean, I can configure later this value in the production. See, because what happens, production users and development users or other environment users are different, right?
yes, yes, yes,
I mean, let's say the UAT environment is there and the production environment there. So I mean, all the users who access the production, they do not have access on the UAT, even they do not perform the UAT, right?
yeah,
So this way we have an option in Documentum to create a placeholder, so that later on, once the same application deployed in the production, they can use that user, rather hard code get it hard coded into that another environment. I
yeah,
mean, for example, if I create a test user as here and if I deploy it, so I don't want that this test user should be created as in the production. Already the production users are there, they must be a part of this test. I mean, they should be replaced with this test,
okay,
right? So for the replacement purpose, we create alias sets.
okay.
So test, let's say test user, I'm just putting a test user.
Sir, one thing. So
Yeah.
you shown that list of users. So list of users, it will show as a names, or it will show as a like a by default DM object or something.
uh, I mean, again, it's uh, kind of test environment, so but it it is not a default user. How many users are there, it populate the list of those all those users.
How to identify, sir? Example, user one, two, or something like that only it will be there, or names or user IDs will be
Let's say
there.
Krishna is there. Let's, I
Okay.
mean, so you just, right, let's create this user. Let us create this user, Krishna, right? User login domain, because if we have a system in domain, then we select a domain. Otherwise, here we have a, because this system is in a Linux, so that's why it's a Unix domain, Unix like this. Otherwise, in general, you'll see two things: LDAP or inline. LDAP or inline.
Online. Okay.
LDAP or inline. Right. LDAP, if the user is coming through LDAP, I mean the authentication taken place at the LDAP site, then we selected LDAP. I mean, right. If you're selecting LDAP, then user get authenticated with, from the LDAP.
Okay.
I mean, we are not supplying any password here.
Okay.
But if select it as a L line, then here's the password. We have to supply the password, right?
Okay.
I mean, what is the difference between inline user and LDAP users? So this is the difference, right?
LAP also third API which is done by a Documentum, right?
Right. Right. I mean, Next is default folder. For example, again, we have another option, restrict folder access to. For example, if we want to restrict this user, do not access a particular folders, then here we can select, right? By default, we can configure it with the existing folder. Otherwise, we can choose create folder with username, right? Next privileges are the create type, create cabinet. I mean, the person having a create type privileges, then he can create object types. I mean, he has a permission to create object type in the system.
Okay.
The person having a create cabinet, then this person have a privilege to create a cabinet. I mean, this person can create cabinet.
Okay.
Cabinet means very first folder,
Okay.
right? I mean, here we want both of it, create cabinet and type. Like this we can provide. Next, if we want that it can create a groups, then so this minimum privilege is required for a user so that he can create a group. Like sysadmin, we'll discuss what is a sysadmin, and super user will discuss, right?
And extended privileges means, sir.
Yeah. Extended privileges again we'll discuss. I mean, we have a further next slide for the extended privileges.
Okay.
Uh, Documentum maintains a history, right? History of all, because it manage everything as an object. So Documentum has a facility to maintain a history of each object, of any object,
Okay.
right? Right. So this history, I mean, it's by default it does not maintain, but we can configure the Documentum to maintain the history,
Okay.
right? So in case we are conferring, then we have to tell the Documentum that for which type you want. I mean, the type specific history we can maintain. For example, if we want the user's history should be maintained, then we select we can configure for a user object type.
Sir, one thing like currently I have created means as a part of user, so I have created almost 100 or 200 documents. To pull out that report, this will be useful or how it will work, sir? Configure audit.
This no, that's not that
That is comes under reporting, right?
no, that does not comes into reporting. Basically purpose of that is, for example, you say uh, one document is there, right? You uploaded a document. Let me tell you what is the things. You uploaded a document, right?
Yeah.
And again, I'm also a sys and also have access on the document. I update something in that document,
Okay.
right? Again, you saw the document and you want to know that who has updated this document and what has been updated,
Yeah. Okay.
who has and what has been updated.
Okay.
So what we can do, we can check the audit reports. I mean, in the audit, everything what has happened with that object is captured by the system,
Okay.
right? What has happened? I mean, anyone who changed the name, anyone who changed the date, anything, any attribute if is changed or is updated for the particular object, it maintained by this audit trail, audit in audit report,
Okay. Okay. Got it.
right?
So this
S-
one client capability configuring audit.
yeah, I mean basically there is a three extended privileges: config audit, purge audit, and view audit. I mean, right. So config audit means who can configure this auditing for a
Okay.
particular object. I mean it is not like that everyone can configure for any object or any type,
Okay.
or any type, not object, any type. I mean it's a type based. I mean we have to update it for a type. So
Okay.
right, or configure it for a type. So only the person having this extended privileges config audit can configure this report in the system
Okay.
so that it start capturing for those objects.
Okay.
Second, purge audit. Purge audit means, because see, it is capturing. every moment of a report of every moment, or a history of object in every moment, right? I mean, what is happening, who accessed that object, or who modified it, like this, right? So it it creates so many objects.
Okay.
I mean, internally everything maintained as an object in a system. So again, it creates objects, audit objects, right? Right. So I mean, again, I mean, again, if the object is creating, means it is taking a space, bandwidth, right? So generally, if we want to delete, then the person having purge audit extended capability, or sorry, extended privileges, that he can delete that kind of reports. Otherwise, no one.
Okay, then I think almost looking, seems similar only, but only difference is each and every moment capturing will be done through purchase audit. Configure means it will just
Configure,
sorry.
configuration. I mean, who can configure? I mean, see, the person who configured it cannot see the report. I mean, he's not able to see the report. He can't see the report. The
Okay,
person who have a purge right can't see the report. Only the person having a view rights, I mean, this view audit, he only can view the reports.
okay,
I mean, right? They have separated it. So only the person having a view rights only can see the view report. I mean, if you try to view the audit report of any object, then you only can view once if you have these rights.
okay,
So even we can make one person for with all. So in case config, view, and audit, then this person can. Otherwise, we can only have one privileges. I mean,
yeah,
either we can provide one privileges, two privileges, or all privileges, like this. I mean, extended privileges. Next is the client capability, we already discussed. So right. So this is all how we designed. If we create a OK, so it create a user Krishna in the system, and right. So let me go back from here. So all the users see Krishna is displayed,
oh, okay, okay, got it.
right? If I want to see the properties again, I mean, properties means again the what all the attribute values are
Mhm.
there for the I mean, this again, this Krishna is what? Krishna is an object of DM underscore user.
Okay, correct.
I mean, DM underscore one entry has been made for a DM underscore user table,
Okay.
right? We can see double like this Krishna, right? Krishna, there's this by default, it's this
The
privilege.
alias also can you check select? What it is?
I mean, I mean, this like, I mean, you can create and like the and give it to any aliases. I mean, mm, no such aliases is there, but okay, like this,
Okay,
I mean, this value is replaced with this Krishna,
okay, 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 got it, got it.
like this.
The alias is nothing but changing that
Yeah, I mean, replaceable value. I mean, that's,
variable. Right?
I mean, see, I'll take an example for the alias set. For example, see, let's say you have developed any application in UAT, right?
Yeah.
And in that application, there is a one email notification is sent to the user, and in that email notification, there is a URL. I mean, user has to click on that URL, and it navigate to the user to the Documentum application, right? It
Yeah.
take that user to the Documentum application, right? So if I deploy same code in the production, would it work? Because the same email notification go to the user if user will click on that particular link, because it will redirect to the UAT application only.
Yeah.
Are you getting my point?
Yes. Yes.
So what we need to do, basically what I'm trying to say, just give me a second. See, we have a URL, right? And URL value is let's say HTTP prod, right? I mean, this is a link, right? And one another URL is HTTP
Yeah.
UAT. Right. So what we do, we create a URL so that this value is replaced as per the environment. So this is a alias set basically. We create alias name with the user and the value with this, right? So if I deploy this URL in the UAT, it should pick this value. If the same thing is deployed in the production, it should take this value.
Okay.
I
Got
mean, right, both have the same name, but the value is different. So it's kind of placeholder. See,
it.
this URL is a placeholder.
Okay.
It replaced with the value as per the environment.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. So I was on privileges. We have a create type, create cabinet, create group, sysadmin, super user privileges. These privileges are additive, means, I mean, if the user has a create type, he only can create type. If we have to give two privileges, I mean, then create type and create cabinet, like that I displayed you, right, in the DA. Now, what is a super user and sysadmin? Right.
Okay.
So what sysadmin can do? Sysadmin can do these all: create type, create cabinet, and create group. All, even he can grant and revoke these privileges. I mean, this person, what this person do? Sorry, this person do. This person grant these privileges to any of the user, or even can revoke these privileges to the users,
Okay.
from the users, right?
Mm.
Next, he can create, alter, drop users and group. I mean, he can delete, create any users. As I created one user Krishna, even if I want to delete, then I can delete. Means who can? I must be having a sysadmin
The new
privileges,
one. Yeah. Privilege.
something. Sysadmin privileges. Then I can delete it, right? Otherwise, I cannot delete. Even I cannot create that
One
user.
question here. So in brackets, you mentioned some values. What is that value? Like 8 or 2? So it is a defaulted values or how?
Yeah, here, I mean, these are the default value. Basically, what happens in the DA, you are drop down, at the drop down, you are seeing the value, right? It is displaying as a name.
Mm.
See, in the DA, if you here at the drop down, it's showing you create type, create cabinet, create, like this, right?
Okay. Okay. Drop
But
down.
drop down. But at the database, it is storing corresponding values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like this.
Okay.
You getting my point?
Mm.
So these are those values. I mean, if user has a create type, at the backend, it is stored two,
No,
let's
no.
say, right?
What is the value of one in this? I am not yet, still I am not that clear. Like create type you mentioned as a bracket one, right? So how the value can be?
Values are, I mean, by default create. I mean, these are the values: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, let's say the Krishna has a create type privileges, right? So
What is the meaning?
yeah, that's I'm telling you. If Krishna has a create type privilege, right? So at the backend, at the database, it store one, rather storing a whole string create type.
Okay,
So by looking at one, you should understand that the Krishna has a create type privileges. By
okay,
looking at two, you should understand that Krishna has a create cabinet privileges.
okay,
Correct?
okay. Got it, got it. Means it is identification marks for the particular
Right.
privilege.
Correct. Corresponding value. Yeah.
Yeah,
Key value kind of.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we are discussing about system admin, I guess. Second,
Yeah. Yeah. This.
yeah,
So even he can activate or deactivate user.
yeah,
Activate and deactivate. Deactivate means, for example, if user leaves an organization,
yeah.
then
Can
we
you go
can
for that?
make user deactivated, right?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Next, create and modify system level permissions. That we'll discuss what is a permission and all. We have a one separate topic, security, right? Perform full text and doc based administration function for this. We'll discuss what all the admin functions are there as a part of DA, right? Documentum administrator tool. When we'll demonstrate you, we'll discuss this admin functions. Manipulate workflows and workflow item, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in case if any workflow got stuck or if any workflow has an issue, and if you want to abort the workflow, I mean, right? Only sysadmin can abort. Manage any objects document lifecycle. So even he can manage the life cycles. Again, we'll show you that what is the life cycle, and again, I mean, we have a separate topic for life cycle. So these all are the sysadmin related work, right?
Okay.
Now, what is a for super user?
Okay. Sir, one more point. I think last slide, like some override user.
Yeah, I'm coming to that point in this
Yeah.
section.
Mm.
That sysadmin privilege does not override user's object level permission. Here will come.
Okay.
Here, I mean, here I would demonstrate you how this it works. This section. Right now, next is the super user privileges. Right, the number is 16. All the admin task or the admin, I mean, whatsoever the privileges for the sysadmin, by default, the super user has. Right,
Okay.
I mean, right. He grant and revoke sysadmin and super user both. I mean, he can make any user as a sysadmin, or I mean, grant super user permission or sysadmin permission, or even can revoke. Unlock checked out document. This is an important part. I mean, maybe administrator has to unlock the checked out document. What does it mean by? For example, you are in an organization, and let's say you checked out the one document, right, for editing, and in between you, I mean, person checked out a document, and in between he has left the organization.
Okay. Yeah.
Right now, that user is no more with the documentum.
Yeah.
What then? Another, because the document apply a lock on that document, so another person cannot see that document, I mean, cannot work on that
Can't
document.
open the document and can't work on the document.
Right, then what would happen? I mean, what we can
Okay.
do that in that
Okay.
case?
That is actually
We
we
have,
yeah,
yeah, so we have to remove lock, right?
yeah.
So that's removing a lock is called the unlocking process.
Yeah.
So only user, I mean, I will let you know how to unlock these documents. I mean, it's a part of the job, admin job.
Okay.
Because mostly what they do, people checked out documents, and they forget to uncheck it, I mean, to cancel check out or check in the documents they missed. And generally people leave the organization, and I mean, the documents remain the system as a logged. So this is a admin's function to unlock this document.
Yeah.
Right. And next, modify or drop another user defined type, another user's permission set, right type. Right, for example, if user has any user has created an object type, so super user can change it, can do any change in that. Right, similarly the ACLs user, if any ACL is created, user can modify that ACL. I mean,
That
either he can
AC access control list.
right, access control list.
Yeah. Okay.
So even he can create a type with no super type. I mean, right now leave it as it is. We have a one separate session for this particular point.
Okay.
Change the owner, because again it takes 1 hour to make you understand about what is the type, how it creates, what is the means of super type and all. That it created for you. I mean, you'll understand in next session.
Okay.
Change owner of document, that is a point of change owner of document. Owner means who upload the document, who create that particular object, right? The person who create that object, he is the owner of document. For example, Krishna uploaded a one file, that Krishna is the owner of that document,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Then if I am a super user, then I can change ownership of I mean that document, I mean from the Krishna to XYZ. I
Okay.
can replace owner name from Krishna to XYZ if
Okay.
I'm a super user. Basically, what the Documentum do? Documentum give by default certain permission to the owners. I mean, for example, if you are creating a document, by default, I mean, if you are creating, then you have a read rights, right? Even write rights on the document by default, right? Because you are a creator.
Okay.
I mean, even you can change it, but by default, I mean, this default setting you can change it. Even I will let you know how to change it. I mean, this is again, this is a admin related task. We'll show you. Even let you know. But you can change the ownership of, I mean, you by default get certain permission on that object. So if I'm a super user, then by default, whatever permission to the owner is there
Okay.
is the same permission is applicable to the super user as well,
Okay.
right? Similarly, create, modify, and delete system level ACLs. What are the system level ACLs? We'll discuss. I mean, we have a separate topic for this ACL. Register and unregister another user's table. This is a developer. I mean, this point is a developer point of view. But yesterday you was asking me in case, I mean, for example, if your system, how to integrate Documentum to another system.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. So this is a one way to integrate Documentum system with another system. Let's say we have a SAP,
Yeah.
right? SAP has a tables, right? Database tables, right?
Correct.
This is a data SAP tables, right? Even we can access this table in a Documentum.
Yeah.
What we need to do? We have to register this table in a Documentum. What is a way of registration? We have a separate topic. We have a separate session for this. How to register, how to unregister, right? So if once this table is registered, why I'm saying that to register this table, why we need this registration? Because Documentum work as an object, right? Everything Documentum, everything is a object for a Documentum. So once once we create this table, I mean, once we register this table will become an object for Documentum. So further, it can be managed by Documentum itself,
Okay.
right? We have at this type session. I mean, further you have a clarity on this session once we have at this type session. I mean, object session for object type,
Okay.
right? Because I mean, today if you see something, I mean, and you do not understand, don't worry. Next day you definitely will understand because everything has a correlation with, right,
Okay.
other things. So yeah. Next is the user privileges. Right, super user, I mean, so as I told you, I mean, who is the ownership of the object? So all the permission that owner has is inherited to the super user. I mean, same sentence it is that. But for the sysadmin it doesn't happen. Sysadmin privileges does not override users object level permission. I mean,
What
what
is the meaning, sir, actually? So
yeah, yeah,
everything is okay.
same, I mean, you are, for example, you are a owner of a object, right?
Mm.
And if I'm a sysadmin, then your permission does not applicable for me. But if I'm a super user, then whatsoever permission you have in object, the same permission will applicable for me as well.
Oh, okay, okay. Means the super user having to and fro, but admin only having one way, like
Correct,
yeah,
right.
okay. One way and two way
So
relation. Okay.
for example, here if you look at this example, owner has a version permission, word has a read permission. What is this read version write? Again, we'll discuss. And engineering has a write permission, right?
Mm.
So if I logged in as a super user, if I logged in as a super user, so whatsoever the permission to the owner is there, by default is applicable to the super user,
Okay.
right? I mean, by default, super user have a version permission on this document.
Okay, okay, okay.
Got it? The
Mm,
meaning of this whole slide is that.
okay.
Now we have a extended privileges. Extended privileges, as I told you, that we have a auditing objects. Auditing is a recording information of occurrence of each event. Event means all movement whatsoever happening with the document or that particular object. It's called auditing. So we have a three extended privileges: config audit, purge audit, and view audit. Right? Config means I mean, the person can configure this auditing. Right? Purge, who can delete this auditing, and view, who can view this audit reports.
So the
Right?
1 minute, like configure means we will configure the audit. Purge means you said something.
Delete, who can delete that reports already create. See, who are configuring this once the reports get recorded, that's these reports, who can delete this. I mean,
But
every reports are saved into the documentum, right?
uh,
Every time, every moment.
recently you said that purge audit means every moment and history of the event, something.
No, I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
might understand, I mean, but every moment is stored, I mean, that is stored in the documentum, right?
Okay,
This I mean, report is captured, I mean, is captured and saved into the documentum.
okay,
Captured and saved into documentum. So
okay,
these reports are getting stored and, filling up the space,
okay, okay,
right? And someone has to delete this, right? So in case if you need to delete, the person having this extended privilege only can delete.
okay, okay, got it. Basically, it comes under the super user only, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, either super users obviously can do anything, but a normal user, for example, if you are a sysadmin only, then you need purge audit extended privileges to delete these reports.
Okay,
What happens in a normal way, we have only one super user in a normal scenario, in general scenario, but three four sysadmins are there,
okay,
right? Because we can, and rest are the normal users. So if anything, I mean, because only a one super user is there, even no, I mean, so that if anyone, any administrative task has to done, or this has to be done, then sysadmin has to be this extended privileges to delete, purge, and all such kind of things.
okay.
How to create a users? I show you one way through Documentum administrator manually.
Yeah,
All right. We have another way for with the DQL, with the API, and with the DFC code. Right. We have a three ways as well.
what is that, sir? That another three, like how to.
Yeah. I mean, see, we have everything in there. No further. Yeah.
Okay, it is there.
Yeah.
Fine.
So, I mean, you saw this way, right? DA. I mean, we had such a screen. We select this
Ah, yes,
name,
you have shown that
then
this is the manual.
right. This is a manual way, right? Even if it, I think, okay. A dequel is through the query. Okay, I think it's not have okay. Anyway, I mean, we have a one separate session for this dequel and DFI and the DFC,
Okay,
right? I mean, we have a separate things, but still, let me give you the overview. Dequel means through writing a query,
okay,
right? API is writing a script, and DFC writing a Java code,
okay.
right? I mean, you can write a utility and for creating a users, writing API like this. Sometimes, as I show you the LDAP, right? In that, if LDAP is there, then the authentication happens at the Active Directory side, LDAP side. I mean, because we do not supply the password. I mean, here, right? We do not supply the password at the Documentum side. So this user source is LDAP, means we are not giving a password. So where the password is stored, password is stored, I mean, it takes the password from the LDAP. So
Okay,
this authentication happens at the LDAP side.
okay,
One thing that need to be taken care, I mean, for example, as I told you, for example, if any user leave the organization and is no more with the organization and no not a part of Documentum, then what we do, we deactivate. I mean, we deactivate that user. We do not delete the users,
Okay, okay.
right? Though,
These are like that.
sorry,
Maybe
come.
why it is like that?
Yeah, yeah, I'm coming to that point.
Yeah,
Why it is for that? Because when, I mean, for example, if you are creating a documents, right?
yeah,
So with that object, right?
yeah.
Your ID is associated with that object,
Yes, sir. Yeah,
right? Similarly, if you created 10 documents, so your ID, one ID is associated all those 10 documents.
yeah.
If I delete you, I mean, let's say that if I delete that particular user from the system,
Okay,
then IDs, I mean, this ID, whatsoever they stored as a part of it, will have a no valid ID, right? I mean, have a no value.
yeah,
And if you try to access this document, then it check that ID further in the system and will not found that ID
yeah,
because it has been deleted. So
yeah.
it start giving you the error.
Okay,
So that's why it is suggested, even it is recommended, that do not delete the Documentum users. So what we can do for that, I mean, if we are not deleting and user is not a part of Documentum, then there is no point to keep that particular user in the Documentum, right?
okay.
Otherwise anyone misuse it, I mean, because it's a security compliance, right? I mean, the user is not there with the organization and still user is valid in Documentum. How we can keep this?
Okay,
So we have another concept in Documentum to make the user as a deactive.
okay,
So what we can do, we can deactivate the user. If
okay.
the user is deactivated, it's a similar to the delete. I mean, similar means user further cannot log in the system
Yeah.
if it is a deactivated,
Mm.
right?
Like maybe okay.
You
So
tell
delete
me.
means completely the history of event we are deleting.
Right.
Deactivating means we are just revoking the permission to access in the system. But still, the person who are authoring or reviewing document that data events and all existing in the system.
Right. I mean, it should exist.
Sorry.
I mean, yes. I mean, I'm saying that if we delete, obviously the data will be lost. So we cannot lose the data. I mean, because we have a compliance tool, so it should maintain all the data. I mean, right.
Yeah.
So that's why we have this feature to deactivate. Right. I told you one example. So there's a couple of examples. I mean, it is not only the document. I mean, for example, if user has created a one workflow or started a one workflow and he left the organization, if you delete that, then the workflow will get failed. Workflow start giving the error.
Yeah.
Right. So uh, to overcome such situation, we have an option to deactivate a user.
Okay. Okay. Can you show that, sir? Or,
So yeah, yeah. I mean, this delay. I mean, yeah, yeah. I would like to show you one thing. So how to deactivate users? Say here, you can make it inactive, active, inactive, logged, like this, right?
okay.
Deactivate means inactive. Make the user inactive.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
If I'm making, then Krishna is inactive. See, yes.
Okay.
So now Krishna cannot log in this system,
Okay.
eh, right? And uh, even we can make Krishna as a logged. Locked is a temporary lock in, right?
Yeah.
And inactive means it's inactive until it's, I mean, cannot log in until it's further active.
Okay.
Now next is a group.
Yeah.
What is a group? Group is a, again, is a set of users, and it is an instance of dm underscore group. How we can create a group? We have another separate screen. I mean this window, I mean I'll show you, where we can select the name and add the users and create a groups, right? Like this we can, I mean, see, we have a group, right? This group.
Yeah.
So here we can new group like this, test group, or right, admin group, right?
Yeah.
A group can have a email IDs. I mean, if we have a associate email ID.
Same like Outlook, we are creating groups.
Yeah, yeah. I mean the same thing. I mean the concept came it from the same place. I mean the same concept.
Maybe little difference is there in this. Like the group owner only can do this modification and adding
Uh,
of users.
Yeah.
The,
So I mean we have to restart the system because system is need restart. That's why it's giving error. Some.
it is terminated window. But
Yeah. So let me show you if again.
no problem, you can restart. I think.
It will take a lot. Whole system we have to restart this. I mean it's a time consuming process. um, this is, 2 TB of system and having a 32 GB of RAM. So many processes are running. This is not only the, system, it's basically a server itself. So many applications. So but I will, tomorrow onwards I will show you in this Windows system, rather Linux. Will it work? Okay, anyway I'll demonstrate it. All right. I mean this is the screen basically. Here you can create and click on finish. Gets created, and further you can add that user into that particular group. I mean there is the option add, select the users and add it.
The previous slide, can you, okay, okay. Next, sir, what is the nested group?
Nested means group under a group.
Okay,
I mean we can add users or create two three, I mean is a set of users, right? Group is a set of users. Even group also can set of groups as well.
same like nested query.
All right,
Okay.
like a nested query. So this is for the test your knowledge. All right. Just read it and try to answer whatsoever understood. If you have any query, we'll have the, you can ask me. Even you can ping me over the WhatsApp as well. Rather just waiting for next session time,
Okay,
you can ping me over the WhatsApp so that I could try to answer you immediately. Right.
okay, okay,
Okay. Anything apart from it, I will share this PPT to you.
okay.
Yeah.
Sir, okay, got it. Only today, I think this is also like only one or two sessions only. I think for the access in that, but majority I can say mostly the theoretical part only for making understanding. Right, no, sir? Hello?
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Theoretical part, so to make understanding, right?
Yeah, I mean this is the way. I mean how
Yeah.
to create a user. I mean mostly admin related part would be kind of, I mean you should understand first. I mean if you do not understand this
Yeah.
capability, client capability practically, I mean, so initially you have to understand this way. I mean, so each, I mean again, the each particle make a one thing. So like this. So right now you understood the security features, you know this uh, privileges, capabilities. And tomorrow if we do any practical kind of, right, then you will have to understand, I mean, so that you can apply this concept.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we wind up the session.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, sir, for your
Bye.
yeah. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Yeah.